Good afternoon, my beloved fellow listeners. On the Gregorian calendar, which is not correct, but we all use it, so on the Gregorian calendar, it is December 30th, a Sunday afternoon in the year 2012, so we are taught to believe. What time is it? My phone says it's 2:08 p.m. My name is Sananda Alfonzo. There's so much that we are not aware of, we're not told. The public is in the dark about a lot of stuff. Part of my joy, part of my mission, part of my drive is to make discoveries, to make accurate judgments, and to share, to distribute, to help the understanding, the awareness, to increase the knowledge of every one of us. I have been a student, I have been a teacher, and I'm telling you, the most important position in life is one of a student. A student will always excel, and if you remain a student, you'll even surpass teachers. So I'm a student of life, a student of the cosmos, a student foremost and first of God, our almighty holy light that creates creation, you, me, and everything we see. To understand what's going on our planet, we really do have to begin with some basic astronomy. All of the predictions, all of the guessing, all of the attempts to figure out what's happening is keyed in to how God is managing the movement of the celestial bodies in what is called outer space, because we are a floating planet that's traveling around inside of a galaxy on one of the spiral arms of the Milky Way galaxy. This galaxy is inhabited with different civilizations on different planets, which you may generally call different Earths. And we're going to get into all of that. But right now, I want to bring kind of an introduction, a kind of an overview of what's happening on this planet, how humans came to this planet in the first place, and just what's going to ultimately happen. We, Earth humans, on this planet are in an orbit that actually includes the Pleiades. We are the seventh star out from the Pleiades. The Pleiades is called the Seven Sisters. Within this Milky Way galaxy, there is a constellation named Taurus. Within this Taurus constellation, there is a cluster of stars named Pleiades. They are astronomically identified as designation M45. The central star of the Pleiades star cluster is named Alcyon or Alcyon. Our Earth's sun is a member sun of the Pleiades star cluster. Our Earth's sun orbits the central sun of Pleiades, named Alcyon. Our Earth's sun is one of the major suns orbiting around Pleiades, the central sun. And our Earth's sun and all planets within our solar system are being affected by the radiant light of the central sun of Pleiades called Alcyon. Alcyon is constantly projecting a magnified field of ultra-high frequency light, greater than our Earth's sun. Alcyon's sun is approximately 15,000 times brighter than our Earth's sun, and they are in a relationship, and Alcyon is affecting our sun and increasing its radiant intensity. This is part of why we are having what is called global warming. This field of ultraviolet light coming from Alcyon is a powerful influence which is affecting the destiny of our planet Earth and all inhabitants herein. Our solar system began being increasingly affected by this cosmic heavenly light in 1962, and by August 17, 1987, the influence of this heavenly light reached sufficient intensity to ignite the age of light. Let me get a little swig of water here. Thank you. There is a divine plan. We may not understand in our little small awareness, but there is a purpose and an intent to what's going on this planet, as well as what is happening within the entirety of creation. For the people of Earth, for the people of this Earth, the divine plan is for all humanity to achieve advancement into cosmic consciousness by each person making their individual effort in lighted love. The time is now, today, to make your individual effort to raise yourself higher than yesterday, to know what cosmic consciousness is, and take the necessary steps for fulfillment. Failure to do so will result in self-destruction, because neither woman, nor man, nor child can change. If you fail to change, you cannot change what's happening. God has control of that. And if you fail to adjust with it, if you fail to correct yourself, you will not be able to endure the magnifying light of Alcyon, which is increasing every day, of which our Earth is moving closer toward every day. And so this is, in fact, very serious. In these closing chapters of God's great play now happening upon this planet, much is set to unfold in rapid sequence, and many are those people who will be shocked into paralysis because of their lack of awareness and their lack of preparation by the turbulence of that which they shall witness and experience in this unfolding of events. You are not alone who feel restlessness, who feel unease, who feel uncertain in a confused world. It appears that chaos is ruling everything, but it is not so. Anyway, let me begin talking about the genesis from extraterrestrial Pleiadian history files of some of the history of what has happened on Earth, how humans got here, and some of the reasons that we have artifacts from extraterrestrials. We have buildings, we have structures, we have all kinds of archaeological anomalies that we're trying to understand. Well, there's a reason why these products are here. They were left here intentionally to pique our curiosity. and we are very curious. But curiosity is not supposed to exist forever. There is to be the answers, and the answers are coming forth. And here's a little bit of it. Our Earth travels out of the Alcyon light field to make a 13,000 years, and this is approximate, time is approximate, 13,000 year journey to give souls an opportunity to learn specific life lessons. Then she re-enters Alcyon's lighted presence for renewal. The Earth human Adam was created 13,000 years ago. Yes, there was an Adam. The impregnation of Joseph's betrothed Mary occurred some 11,000 Earth years ago. Yes, there was a real Mary. And this occurred after the creation of Adam to fulfill an ancient prophecy that was declared about Emmanuel's birth. Yes, there is an Emmanuel. He is not presently on this earth. He is in a fourth dimensional level of existence. He is on a starship that is orbiting this planet right now. The starship is called the Starship Phoenix. And yes, I am directly in contact with this ship and its inhabitants. Emmanuel was born 11,000 years after Adam and was crucified 2,000 years ago, which brings us to the end of Earth's 13,000 year life lesson semester. It is now time to graduate higher for some of us. August 17th, 1987 ended many of the ancient calendars, including the Mayan calendar. The Gregorian calendar is not correct. It is wrong. It is what we're using, so be it, but it is not correct. Correct time measurements is based on astronomy. It's based on the entering of our solar system into the Alcyon light field. It is based on its departure from that light field, which takes approximately 3,000 years. It is based on a clock that begins at position 12 and returns to position 12. We have just arrived at position 12 a.m. on the cosmic clock, on the galactic clock, and we're moving toward position 1, 2, 3, and each one of those positions are considered to be an age of time. So let me begin Genesis from the Pleiadian history files, and let's only go back approximately 50,000 years. There really is no need to go back further than that at this time, even though before this earth was created, and science says that the earth is about 4.5 billion years old. Actually, humans have been existing in the galaxy even before this planet was created. The humans on this planet are descendants of humans from other civilizations in other parts of this galaxy and other galaxies. The nearest galaxy or star cluster that has humans dominating this planet are from the star cluster called Lyra, who went to Pleiades, who then came to Earth. So let's just talk about Earth right now. Don't want to get too far out, too complicated. It is strange that man wishes to contradict that which he has no basis for judging. How can man know, for instance, that some 50,000 years ago in Earth chronology, our home world in the Pleiades found peace and liberty? This is a report coming from an extraterrestrial who lives in the Pleiades. 50,000 years ago, in Earth chronology, our home world in Pleiades found peace and liberty. Shortly before this time, because of wars, 70,000 or so human beings fled under the leadership of one labeled Pelagon. They used spacecraft and they fled through the cosmos and settled on Earth. Under Pelagon were 200 sub-leaders, scientists, competent in their special fields of knowledge, and by these and others, Pelagon was acknowledged as what you might call the king of wisdom, Ishwish, or God. And he was at that time regarded as God and regarded as such, for he taught the word and law of God and the creation. Wondrous things were brought forth upon earth. Regrettably, this lasted well for only a narrow span of some 10,000 years until desires for power and control prevailed once more and a deadly war raged all over the earth. Without exception, all was destroyed and only a remnant, a few thousand human beings, survived on earth while others fled once more into the cosmos and settled far away worlds. Now, does this sound like a rerun, Chalice? Well, yes, for those who are having reincarnation memories. I am Sananda Alfonzo. I have memories of these experiences, and so do you. They're simply embedded in your subconscious mind. But we're going to bring them forward. We're going to bring them out because it is time to know more than you know right now. For some 7,000 years, none returned to Earth after the Great War, and the humans left behind degenerated and became wild. Ever hear of cavemen? Ever hear of Neanderthals? And where did these cavemen come from? It's not the way you're being taught. For some 7,000 years, none returned to Earth, and the humans left behind degenerated and became wild. These are Pleiadians who came to Earth, brought to Earth by Pelagon over 50,000 years ago. But because of war, greed, because of egotism, supremacy, the rising of one human above another, the inhumanity of man to mankind, that silliness always brings destruction. It always brings the downgrading of the spirit into that which is close to animalism. For some 7,000 years, none returned to Earth. And the humans left behind, these Pleiadian humans that were left behind, they degenerated and they became wild. And then descendants of those who had settled on faraway places, they came back. They were again under the leadership of a god king, under whose command they built on Atlantis. Yes, Atlantis is real. And Lemuria, yes, Lemuria are real. They built huge cities on each of these two separate continents. For thousands of years, they lived in friendship and peace until a few scientists were again overcome by the old thirst for might and power and tried to seize the government. But having tired of wars, the nations rose up against them, and they again occupied ships from space and fled into cosmic space, And this occurred some 15,000 to 20,000 years ago in Earth chronology. For some 2 millenniums, they and their descendants lived in a neighboring solar system. That solar system is called the Barnard star system. Why is this hard for you of Earth to conceive and understanding? Do you actually have such little faith and belief in God? Do you so limit God that you cannot believe beyond the physical features of your nose and that which the controllers will have you believe? Listen, dear ones, there were 2 millennium during which they had become very evil and only maintained order under strictest control. These scientists who fled and went into the Barnard star system, they are the ones who were there for 2,000 years. They are the ones that became evil. They are the ones who, by mutation and their scientists, they extended their lifespans to some thousands of years. And overcome by their thirst for power, they then left their world about 13,000 years ago. They came back to Earth. Now, hold your breath, Chalice. Their highest leader was one who was called the Barbarian. And like the God King before him some 40,000 years before, talking about Pelagon, this God King, this barbarian God King, his name was Ishwish Eris. He also had some 200 leaders and sub-leaders who were competent in special fields of science. For as you re-inhabit a planet where only a remnant remains, it requires much diversified knowledge and abilities. In 2 groups, they settled in the high north and the present Florida of North America, while they continuously attacked Atlantis and Mu in war following war. And only a few millenniums after their occupation of Earth bases, they succeeded in destroying the civilizations of first Lemuria, Mu, and then Atlantis. The few survivors, the citizens, went into servitude, while many great scientists were able to flee and return to their home world in the Pleiades. But centuries before this point in time, the intruders boasted of their conquest of Earth, and Ishwish Eris led a severe and bloody regime. Still, his sub-leaders assumed for themselves many things and became more and more independent, the sub-leaders of Eris. Within only 3 decades, they had gone far in their own decision-making, even though they feared the punishments of the Ishwish Eris. They advocated a code to, under all circumstances, maintain their own race and not allow it to fall to mutations away from themselves. In a most forbidden manner and secretly, they went out and caught wild earth creatures and mutations who were distant descendants of former human beings from cosmic space. These evil tricksters called themselves sons of heaven, and they were corrupted even according to their own race. It will come to be that these ones were put away in other places, for they formed mutated tribes and did not follow the laws of God and or the creation. Meanwhile, others similar have been produced who form groups and tribes, and from these present earth mankind developed. So again, we're going to recap. Humans from Pleiades, descendants from the constellation of Lyra, came and inhabited this planet under the leadership of Pelagon, who was a God-directed man whose civilization he created lasted for 10,000 years. After he departed, the scientists became drunk with power, started a war, and some people left this planet, others were left here on this planet, and other scientists who were of an evil intent, they left the planet too. But when those scientists of evil intent came back to this planet, they started wars again, destroying Atlantis and Lemuria under the leadership called Eris. His title was called Ishwish, which means God in the Pleiadian language. It was at this time, approximately 13,000 years ago in Earth calendar, that Adam was birthed. Adam meaning earth human being. This is the secret records of Emmanuel, which means God with us or God among us, who is the son of Joseph, of Jacob, the distant descendant of David, who was a descendant of Abram or Abraham, whose lineage goes back to Adam, the father of man of the earth, who was begot by Semyasa, the leader of the sons of heaven, who were the guardian angels of God, the great ruler of those who travel from afar. Semyasa, the highest of the sub-leaders, made it with an Eva, a female being. Semyasa begot with his earth wife, Adam, Adamic earth human beings. Jacob begot Joseph, who became the spouse of Mary, the mother of Emmanuel, who became pregnant by one who was a distant descendant of the Father of heaven, whose name was Raziel, who was the guardian angel of the secret. Now, and I know it's going to take listening and re-listening as I try to bring forth some chronology. This is merely an overview. This is sounding involved, complicated. It is, but we got to start somewhere. And I will continue. Even after this audio tweet, I'll have other audio tweets. We are going to understand what God is doing, what's happening on these various planets, which planets are inhabited, how long has this been going on, and what is the ultimate result of all of this. When Joseph was betrothed, when he was in betrothal to Mary, to be publicly married, he was informed of the secret insemination of Mary through a descendant of the sons of heaven, from the lineage of Raziel, and he was filled with wrath. He denied her, and yet having been close unto her, and most respectful of her purity, that she was still a virgin, he was given into confusion and bewilderment. He made arrangements to take leave of her and denounce any responsibility unto her, and further he refused to marry her in public before the people of the community, which was the way marriage was ordained and sanctioned in those days. He didn't believe that she was pregnant by some angel or the Holy Spirit or the Holy Ghost, but that is what happened. Mary, the mother of Emmanuel, who historically is known as Jesus, was chosen, and she was given an artificial insemination, artificial insemination from the seminal fluid of the angel Gabriel, who was a descendant of the angel Raziel. While Joseph was thus thinking in this manner of dismissing Mary and not having her as his wife, behold, the angel, a guardian angel of the sons of heaven, Gabriel, who had brought the seed unto Mary, appeared before him and said, Joseph, Mary is betrothed to you, and you are her spouse. Do not leave of her, for the fruit of her womb is chosen for a great and wondrous purpose. Marry her, before the people, so that you may be man and wife before the people. If ye choose to renounce her and deny of thy responsibility, thy name shall be stricken from the book of life, and ye shall be as never having been. Now, this impregnation of Mary occurred some 11,000 earth years after the creation of Adam through the Son of Heaven, Semyasa, so that the world and the word would be fulfilled, which God, the ruler of those who travel from afar, had said through the prophet Josiah, or as you naming Isaiah, who spoke as follows: Behold, an innocent child will be impregnated by a son of heaven before she is married to a man before the people. They will name the fruit of her womb Emmanuel, which interpreted means the God with us, as a symbol and to give honor unto God, through whose strength and providential care the earth was made to bear intelligent human life, through the women of the earth pairing with the sons of heaven, those that travel from afar, and bearing great wisdom and perfection of the universe. Behold, God and his followers from afar came from the depth of the universe, saving themselves from a strong bondage, creating a new race and home with the early women of this earth, for they were in form much like the beauteous creatures of earth, and transported great truth and knowledge, bonded with unsurpassed wisdom. However, upon birthing into the density of the earth plane, the shroud of forgetfulness would be destined to fall upon the human form. Honor by the man of earth is due unto God, for behold, he is the true originator of the lighted generations of people on earth, and to him honor should be given. There is nothing in equal form besides him, for this human race created by him. Therefore man shall have no other gods beside him, who created other human races in other parts of the earth. Besides God, there is nothing in equal form worthy of adoration. Only the omnipotence of creation reigns over him and his celestial sons, the creation itself, which is to be adored. Thus Mary's pregnancy is the law of God, so you, Joseph, are to be her spouse in matrimony, for it is so ordained. And thus did the angel Gabriel speak unto Joseph. Joseph was very God-fearing, so that when he heard this presented to him from the brilliance of the angel Gabriel, he remembered the laws of God. He brought Mary unto him and married her before the people in the acceptable manner of marriage. Meanwhile, in a very forbidden manner and secretly, the sub-leaders under Ishwish-Eris, this negative God spirit, went out, and they caught wild earth creatures and mutations who were distant descendants of former human beings from cosmic space. Wild and beautiful female beings were tamed and mated with by the leaders, who deceitfully called themselves the sons of heaven. Each, according to his own race, created mutated beings, completely new forms of life, who were of dwarf-like stature, gigantic, or animal-like. Semyasa, the highest of the sub-leaders, mated with an Eva, a female being, who was still mostly human-like and also rather beautiful in feature and form. The descendant of this act was of male sex and a human being of good form. Semyasa called him Adam, which was a word meaning earth human being. A similar breeding produced a female, and in later years they were married to each other. Meanwhile, other others similar have been produced who forged groups and tribes from these present earth mankind develop. Again, recap. The Ishwish Eris, this god spirit Eris, and his sub-leaders started to locate and find the Pleiadians who were left behind on Earth after the Great War. And as they found the Pleiadian females who had now degenerated into wild cave women, they captured them, they tamed them, they mated with them, they produced children with them, and this was happening in different locations over the Earth. This is how the Earth became populated. They became populated primarily by these Pleiadian women who were mated with by these extraterrestrial beings who were also from the Pleiades, but also from other parts of the galaxy. Now, when the Ishwish Aris found out that his sub-leaders were going out finding these wild Pleiadian females who had degenerated by being left behind on this planet with no technology, and that they were creating their other tribes in other sections of the earth, Ishwish Aris, he didn't like that. He felt they were competing against him. So this action angered the Ishwish Aris. He seized his sub-leaders when he could catch them and killed them or exiled them when he could catch them. But in time, he changed his mind and recognized the new power he could exercise over the earth beings. So with newly appointed sub-leaders and guardian angels, he brought 3 human races under his absolute control. These were the ancestors of those who today are known as Indians from India, then the fair-skinned inhabitants who had settled around the Black Sea, and the third were the gypsies along the south of the Mediterranean Sea, who were called Hebrews. Ishwish Aris subjected these races and forced them under his control. As the highest ruler over them, he allowed himself to become venerated and adored as human ego man is prone to do, and promptly forgot the Creator. He allowed them to venerate him above the creation itself, and his sub-leaders were treated as assistant creators. He imposed most harsh and severe laws, demanding the blood of the guilty. Now, does this sound like a rerun of a scenario? Do you recognize the spirit and character of what today Christians call Satan and other religions call Satan? This is how it started. This is where those mythologies come from. They come from actual historical people who lived on Earth before recorded history. Now, the Ishwish Aris, he had a son by the name of Jahav, who took over this domination. He was little better, for he too demanded only blood and death from the 3 enslaved races. The later descendants of the gods became more humane and developed a degree of spirituality. And I would guess it's time to straighten up and begin to fly according to the rules. Little Chelas, their spiritual evolution changed their minds, and they decided to leave the development of the earth beings to their natural course and retired to their home world. So they departed Earth and returned as peaceful creatures again to the Pleiades, where their own mankind had reached most advanced states of development. United, we live together today and are in an allied population of peace and liberty under the laws of God and acting in balance and harmony within the creation. Precious ones, it is most essential that you ones come into truth of this writing, for you have so many gaps and missing pages in your historical documents, and the unknown causes you great fear. Because your brethren of Pleiades feel responsibility and kindredship with your human earth species, they come with the hosts at this time to assist, to evacuate, to do whatever is required to help you in your transition. We are come to assist wherein we might serve in the service first of and to God, Almighty Holy Light, in balance and truth within the creation, and unto you our relations. May you come into understanding one with the other, that we might work toward truth and again bring peace and wondrous magnificence unto the species. Again, it is a lot to think about. It is a lot to grasp. But we're going to take it a little at a time. We are moving toward a cosmic revelation of which there's going to be no doubt. It is my project to bring forth a movie that will give this history. I am then going to produce a television series that will continue the unfoldment of this cosmic truth of where humans come from. How were we created? Why are we here? And where do we go from here? This is all part of the divine plan. This is what I'm here to do. This is why I'm contacting certain people who were born to give assistance. If they still want to give assistance, if not, we will replace them and find those who do want to give assistance, because this divine plan shall come forth. It shall not be stopped, no matter who is against us. We shall prevail. This is Sananda Alfonzo, in Almighty Holy Light of God, giving forth goodwill, giving forth peace, education, love, light, and a desire for advancement. We all are capable. We all are able. We must have the desire to turn inside of ourselves, to our center, to our core, to our soul, and live from the inside out, not from the outside physical things inwardly. Let your knowledge, let your intuition be your commander. It is the God part of you that knows what you're here to do. So be it. Always in Almighty Holy Light, I am Sananda Alfonzo. Talk to you later, my beloved friends.